sports fans, ASMR Sports, back in your business. Alright, today folks, we have a customer order to do. Special thanks to our friend Isaiah, who actually bought a bunch of Pokemon cards that I opened up on a video that should be up at the same time this one is. But over on my Poke Relaxing channel that you should check out if you're interested in that. That is a softly spoken channel, so not whispered, but if you like Pokemon content and relaxation, definitely check that out. So, yeah, in addition to the Pokemon stuff, Isaiah ordered a pack of 1985 Topps Baseball, which is always on the top of my list of vintage packs that I would love to dig into because it's just such a fun set, and it's one that I feel very sentimental about, because when I started collecting it was really like 1987, 1988. I know, a lot of you folks out there don't even believe that anybody existed in those years, but they did. And that's kind of when I, as a young kid, got interested in cards. And at that time, 1985 Topps, and really, all the 85 stuff, and 84 for that matter, were like super rare, valuable, collectible, expensive, because you had rookie cards of Kirby Puckett, Roger Clemens, Dwight Gooden in 85, and Mark McGwire, who had like a huge season in 87 as a rookie. So, for me, this stuff was like the Holy Grail, almost. I mean, really, 84 Donruss was the Holy Grail, but this stuff was just sort of, I don't know, I was just kind of amazed at how cool the set was and the cards in it, and I just was always super excited to get my hands on any 85 Topps card of a veteran or a minor rookie. And rarely had the chance to do it, and I certainly, as a kid, did not really ever, I think, open a pack of this stuff. So the fact that I can do that today is a pretty cool thing. Now, I have opened packs of this stuff from the same box on this channel. I feel like we've pulled... Oh wow, I see a really, what would have been an awesome card back then. I mean, there's really the main two cards you want to get out of this right now are the Kirby Puckett, since he's a Hall of Famer, and then the Mark McGwire, which, even though he's kind of got that steroid taint to his career, it's still a very collectible card. But yeah, I remember when I started collecting, this guy right here was just about the hottest player on earth. And I remember my mom had a colleague at work where she worked her day job, and he was big into sports cards, and I figured that out because my mom told me, and so I met with him once at her office, and he brought some cards in for me, and one of the cards was like a kind of a beat up. There was like a kind of like a factory print error issue with it, I remember. But it was an 86 Topps Gooden, and I just was in awe of that card, even though it was just a second year card. It was like, I think the earliest Gooden I had at that point. I don't know if I had any Goodens actually, but he was just so on fire in the hobby as a young pitcher his first few years. So this card, in his rookie year, even though it's just a subset record breaker card, would have been just amazing, amazing to have. Man, these cards are so like fresh and like crisp. The corners are all just like beautiful. Centering is always an issue with these top sets, but and we'll look here. Teenager Gooden sets season strikeout record for rookies. Yeah, so I mean, gives you a sense of. I mean, basically he comes up, he's super young, which I feel like a lot of times pitchers don't get the chance to like break into the bigs as like, 18-year-olds like you sometimes see with like position players. Like Soto comes to mind. I think he was 18 when he got his break back in like 2017. Actually that might have been 2018 that he started, but I can't remember. But he was very young when he got started, and I think Bryce Harper was like that too. And I'm not sure Trout was like super young. I think he was probably 20. But anyways, for pitchers, it's I think very rare, more so than position players. And so when he came up and he was just throwing gas, and back then the hobby was actually much more willing to accept like pitchers as hobby stars. Guys like Nolan Ryan were very, very collectible, and when Gooden was on his breakthrough kind of rookie and next couple of seasons after that, I mean his stuff was as valuable as any other position or any position player from that year, without question. I think these days, that's pretty tough for a pitcher to catch on. Like what's his name, Paul from oh man, what's his last name? The Pirates pitcher, but you guys all know who I'm talking about if you know anything about baseball. Paul Skeens is who I'm thinking of. Like, I don't know, he's a rarity, and my prediction also is that like he's just gonna tear his UCL, and he's gonna get Tommy John surgery and come back as half the pitcher he was, and everyone's gonna forget about him. I mean, just like they forget about like Noah Syndergaard, like they forget about like basically every pitcher who comes up and dominates to start with, like the hobby. And when I say people are forgetting, I'm talking about like collectors. They just, I don't know, they just don't have shelf life. There's no question in my mind Paul Skeens cards will be worth like $0 in a few years, because there's just no path to like a big tall guy power pitcher like that maintaining hobby interest for longer than a year and a half or 2 years at the most, I think. So I don't know, could be wrong, but Dwight Gooden, good times, very good times. All right, John Tudor, the Pirates, and yeah, not much to say about him, but right behind it, let's talk about this card, because this insert set, or subset it actually is, it's not an insert, it's a subset. It's got the same numbering as the main set. So this was the first time the Topps ever did this, where they did a set that had like the top players from the USA like Olympic baseball team, and it was significant because back in this time frame, like none of the card manufacturers would ever dream of putting a minor league player on a card like we saw later in the hobby happen before the Major League Baseball kind of set rules about how soon a player could appear in a sort of MLB set like flagship Topps. So you had the fact that there was just never cards of players before they were very clearly established in their rookie years on the teams they played. And then simultaneously there was just this obsession with rookie cards that still exist today, but kind of started in the mid to late 80s. In fact, I sort of wonder if a lot of people who, are maybe less than, I don't know, 40 years old, certainly less than 30 years old, if they know that back in like the 50s and 60s and 70s, you didn't want a player's rookie card. It was not very valuable. You wanted a card of the year they won, like their MVP, or they won a World Series or something like that, right? Or like, Roger Maris, his 61 card, I think, probably would have been one of his most valuable because it's when he, hit his 61 home runs. So the idea of a rookie card being the most valuable card of a player was something that, happened over time and really took off in the 80s when the hobby itself was sort of blowing up. So you combine these two facts, and you get a situation where these USA Baseball team cards are just like super cool because in the case of, for example, Mark McGwire, who has a card in the set, he would not have a Topps, rookie card until like 2 years later in 1987 Topps. So you've got a card of a guy who, was the hottest player in the hobby for a good number of years, and you have his card depicting him 2 years before his actual, his rookie card. So that's pretty special, and it made these USA Baseball team cards. There was another guy in here named Corey Snyder, who was seen as a very good prospect, and his rookie cards when they came out in '87 were, I think he actually had some in '86 too, in Donruss, and was he in '86 Donruss? I think he was, yeah, and he was in '86 Flair too. But anyways, his card in this set was a pretty good one. I think it was maybe the second most valuable one. And there was Will Clark is also, is Will Clark in the set? What? No, Will Clark is not in this set, I think, but he played on this team, is what I'm thinking. Like, he was on the '84 baseball team, but they didn't make cards of every player. They just made, some of the players. But anyways, yeah, I'm glad we got one of these because this '84, U.S. baseball team subset in '85 Topps is, I think, one of the coolest parts of this set. Alright, Bill Russell played for like a bajillion years, a lot of it with the Dodgers. Yeah, up to this point he'd been entirely with the Dodgers. I don't know if he was ever on another team, but 69 is when he started. Pete Vukovich, pitcher. His teammate Bob McClure, also a pitcher. And there's Lee Smith, who I believe he's in the Hall of Fame now. He was a pretty good pitcher. I think he was like a relief pitcher, at least for part of his career, but I might be hallucinating about that. I think here he's probably a starter, but anyways, you Cubs fans will know all about Lee Smith. He was a very good pitcher. Randy Lurch, that's quite a last name. Pitcher for the Giants. We've got a winning pitch game, trip before to the 1986 All-Star game. Pretty cool. 3 runs. Alright, there's Cubs catcher Jody Davis. Oh, wow. Oh man, this thing is like, so this has a kind of a surface indentation in it, so unfortunately that's probably not going to be something you'd want to send in for grading, but gosh, it's a beautiful card. It is a little bit off center, but like all the cards in this set, or in this pack, it's got really crispy edges and corners, so it's a beautiful card. And I have to say, this is maybe one of my favorite cards in the set. I just remember this card. I remember, what a big star Ryan Sandberg was, and obviously he's a, Hall of Famer now, but back then he was just a big star. And when I saw the Cubs kind of logo coming up on this card, it really made me think of this Sandberg card, and I was like, oh man, I would love to see that Sandberg card, and here it is. So really cool card. Yeah, just a beautiful card with the blue and the red on the white background, and obviously matches the uniform. These name plaque colors. Oh wow, look at this. Ryan's wide variety of hobbies include hiking, tennis, and music. Cool. I wonder if he still plays tennis. So that's a pretty sweet card. Alright. Certainly the best card we've gotten so far. Claudell Washington. We got Dave Smith. Bob James, pitcher. Dang, we got a Yankee, but man, there's too many dang pitchers. The last card is Bobby Castillo, pitcher for the Twins. That's our gum card. So that was really fun. I have to say, I just love these cards. I remember when I was a kid also, I lived where I live now in Fargo, North Dakota, and here most of the people, are Twins fans because they're the closest team. And so, a lot of the kids at school when I was growing up were big fans of the Twins, and I would try to find Twins cards when I went to card shows, and I would be happy to have a Bobby Castillo or any other Twins card from this set because, again, it was such a vaunted set for me as a kid who could never afford to buy packs of this stuff. So I'm sure I would have probably looked through, boxes that had Twins cards and saw this when I was a kid. I can recognize a lot of the Twins cards from this set, from the 84 set, from the 86 set, from having looked, through so many Twins cards when I was a kid, looking for ones to buy. Yeah, so there you go. So it's kind of I don't know. I mean, we didn't get anything crazy. That Ryan Sandberg is certainly nice, but it's really only a probably $2-3 card. But I'm so glad we got to see this. Yeah, I don't know. Always a pleasure to open this stuff. So many thanks to Isaiah for ordering that up. We'll get that shipped off with your Pokemon cards here this weekend, and I hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, continue to kind of try to find time to do some content for you all, and I do have actually a lot of things that theoretically I could put online if somebody wants to order, so we can do a break, like a personal break. There's not a lot. Actually, there are some stuff I want to open myself. I was at the local Target, and they had a fresh restock, and they had a ton of these, and I'm guessing that these are probably selling for well over MSRP. So it seemed like a good buy, and I picked up a couple of them probably just to open. I'm trying to think if I've done any 2024 prison football. I don't think I have. I got a hobby box of this stuff from my distributor, but I sold that. So I don't have that anymore. And then couple new football items I got from my distributor. These were like restocks, so I basically paid like $5 under, blowout cards pricing on this stuff. So not cheap, but I don't know, it's stuff that I don't mind picking up at, a not terrible price, but certainly not a bargain. But my intention would be, to hang on to this stuff and just, I like to have a little bit, or sometimes a lot, of every year of, football cards, because you never know when Patrick Mahomes is going to come out of the draft class for that year, and if so, like every box in that year is going to be, worth a fortune, as is the case with 2017 stuff where Mahomes rookie cards are found. So yeah, I don't have a problem buying this stuff up. But if anybody did want to, pick some of this up and have me open it, that could be fun too. It would be fun to see some of this stuff. And this is a Panini Encore, which is the first year they've made this set, featuring Pinnacle and Pacific brand cards. So those are two card sets that they don't really make anymore for football cards, but that they used to make. At least I think they did. They definitely made those for baseball. I don't know if they did football sets with those, but I'm thinking they did. So this is kind of sort of like a Chronicles type thing, but there's only two sets, I think, that they cover in it. But I'm not really sure. I haven't seen any of this stuff get opened, and I'm just kind of going by what I see on the box. But I don't know, kind of interesting. It does make me sort of curious. So yeah, I've got stuff like that in, and I've got some fun kind of vintage junk wax era stuff as well. And yeah, who knows, someday I might get to this stuff. But anyways, it's good to see y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time.